The Battle of Lima Site 85, also called Battle of Phou, Phathi, was fought as part of a military campaign waged during the Vietnam War and Laotian Civil War by the Vietnam People's Army and the Pathet Lao, against airmen of the United States Air Force 1st Combat Evaluation Group, elements of the Royal Laos Army, Royal Thai Border Patrol Police, and the Central Intelligence Agency-led Hmong Clandestine Army. The battle was fought on Phou Phathi Mountain in Hua Hin Province, Laos, on 10 March 1968, and derives its name from the mountaintop where it was fought or from the designation of a 700 feet landing strip in the valley below, and was the largest single ground combat loss of United States Air Force members during the Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War and the Laotian Civil War, Phou Phathi Mountain was an important strategic outpost which had served both sides at various stages of the conflict. In 1966, the United States ambassador to Laos approved a plan by the United States Air Force to construct a TACAN site on top of Phou Phathi, as at the time they lacked a navigation site with sufficient range to guide U.S. bombers towards their targets in North Vietnam. In 1967 the site was upgraded with the air-transportable all-weather MTSQ-81 radar bombing control system. This enabled American aircraft to bomb North Vietnam and Laos at night and in all types of weather, an operation code-named Commando Club. Despite U.S. efforts to maintain the secrecy of the installation, which included the sheep-dipping of the airmen involved, U.S. operations at the facility did not escape the attention of the North Vietnamese and Pathet Lao forces. Towards the end of 1967, North Vietnamese units increased the tempo of their operations around Phou Phathi, and by 1968 several attacks were launched against Lima Site 85. In the final assault on 10 March 1968, elements of the VPA 41st Special Forces Battalion attacked the facility, with support from the VPA 766th Regiment and 1 Pathet Lao Battalion. The Hmong and Thai forces that were defending the facility were overwhelmed by the combined North Vietnamese and Pathet Lao forces. Background. See also Lima Site 85. Phou Phathi is a remote mountain in Hua Hin Province, northeastern Laos. The mountain, which is about 1,700 meters high, is located within the former Royal Lao Army's military Region 2, and about 24 kilometers from the border of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam and 48 kilometers away from Sam Noya, the Pathet Lao capital. For the local Hmong and Yo tribes that lived in the area, Phou Phathi was a place of religious significance. They believed it was inhabited by spirits possessing supernatural powers to exercise control over their lives. However, the United States Air Force saw Phou Phathi as an ideal location for installing a radar navigation system to assist U.S. pilots in their bombing campaigns in North Vietnam, and along the Ho Chi Minh Trail inside Laos. Laos was a neutral country according to the International Agreement on the Neutrality of Laos signed on 23 July 1962. Therefore, the United States was prohibited from openly conducting military operations in the kingdom. Activities undertaken by the USAF in Laos had to be approved by the U.S. Ambassador to Laos William H. Sullivan. When the plan to install a navigation system on Phou Phathi mountain was proposed, Sullivan initially opposed it as he thought that Laotian Prime Minister Prince Suvarnabhumi would not allow his country to be involved in an aerial offensive against North Vietnam. However, Suvarnabhumi did permit the installation, on the condition that it not be manned by U.S. military personnel. In August 1966, the USAF installed a TACAN system, an autonomous radio transmitter that provided pilots with distance and bearing relative to the station on Phou Phathi. In 1967, under the codename Heavy Green, the facility was upgraded with the TSQ-81, which could direct and control attacking jet fighters and bombers to their targets and provide them with precise bomb release points. It began operating in late November 1967 as Operation Commando Club, to operate the equipment within the limitations imposed by the Laotian Prime Minister. USAF personnel assigned to work at the installation had to sign paperwork that temporarily released him from military service, and to work in the guise of civilian technicians from Lockheed Martin. The process is euphemistically called sheep-dipping. In reality, they operated as members of the USAF circuit rider teams from the 1st Mobile Communications Group based at Udon Royal Thai Air Force Base who rotated to the site every 7 days. Personnel working at the TACAN site were supplied by weekly flights of the 20th Special Operations Squadron, based at Udon RTAFB in northeastern Thailand, operating under the codename Operation Pony Express using Lima Site 85, the 700 meters airstrip constructed by the Central Intelligence Agency in the valley below. Hmong General Vang Phou, who spearheaded the Allied war effort against North Vietnamese and Pathet Lao forces in Military Region 2, was entrusted with the task of guarding the facility using the Hmong Clandestine Army alongside CIA-funded Thai Border Patrol police forces. Though substantial resources were invested to maintain the facility, the USAF command doubted Vang Phao's ability to defend the installation. Accordingly, all equipment had explosives attached so that if the site was overrun, it could be quickly destroyed. By late 1967, Lima Site 85's radar directed 55% of all bombing operations against North Vietnam. Prelude. As USAF ground controllers were able to guide attacking aircraft against North Vietnamese targets in all types of weather, installation of the TSQ-81 radar system on Phou Phathi was considered to have been extremely successful during the final months of 1967. Yet a formerly top-secret after-action report credited Commando Club with guiding the following sorties. At the same time, Commando Club was directing missions westward into Operation Barrel Rolls B sector, as Communist forces bypassed LS-85 in the push deeper into Laos to attack Nam BAC. The trend of LS-85 being forced to use its capabilities toward defending itself instead of flying offensive missions into Vietnam is evident from the tables above. Successes of the system also brought about worries for the personnel on the ground. Major Richard Secord, who was responsible for the security of Lima Site 85, was concerned about the safety of the unarmed USAF technicians working there dressed as civilians. He requested Green Berets be assigned as on-site security. Ambassador Sullivan turned down the request. Sullivan repeatedly insisted that civilian personnel at Lima Site 85 should not be armed, but Secord decided to equip the technicians with weapons. M16 assault rifles, fragmentation grenades, concussion grenades, and other small arms were then brought in. Secord said that, given the site's meager defenses, he felt the site could not be held against a serious assault. Secord's fears were justified, as USAF reconnaissance aircraft regularly flying over northeastern Laos in 1967 revealed that the paved roads constructed by the North Vietnamese were obviously approaching Phou Phathi. Road constructing activities were observed along routes 6 and 19, which connected Dien Bien Phu in North Vietnam with Phou Phathi and Nam Bac in Laos. Realizing the North Vietnamese would try to destroy the installation, Secord advised the U.S. Embassy in Vientiane to evacuate all U.S. personnel. However, high-ranking U.S. Officials insisted that Lima Site 85 should operate as long as possible, as it helped save the lives of U.S. pilots every day it remained in operation. In December 1967, a communist military offensive in the region was signaled by a series of skirmishes. On 15 December, CIA-led Hmong reconnaissance patrols detected both North Vietnamese and Pathet Lao battalions moving against Nam Bac, at the time the stronghold of the Royal Lao Army. On 16 December, two Pathet Lao companies overran Phou Din, only 12 kilometers east of Lima Site 85. Shortly afterwards, however, Hmong units recaptured the village. Towards the end of 1967, U.S. controllers at Lima Site 85 directed F-4, F-105 and A-1 fighter bombers based in Thailand and South Vietnam in airstrikes against North Vietnamese and Pathet Lao formations that were massing around the U.S. facility at Phou. Pathet. 826 invaders were called in to make night missions, targeting movements of the enemy ground troops on Route 6 and Route 19. On 14 January 1968, the situation in northeastern Laos continued to worsen, as an estimated 4 North Vietnamese infantry battalions captured the Laotian government's stronghold at Nam Bac. Despite the growing threat from North Vietnamese forces, the U.S. military was still not permitted to reinforce the installation on Phou Pathet mountain because to political sensitivities. The defense of Lima Site 85 was assigned to 2 CIA paramilitary officers who led about 1,000 Hmong soldiers, with 200 men guarding the ridgeline and the remaining 800 in the valley below. They were reinforced by a Thai Border Patrol police battalion of 300 men. In the first week of 1968, the combined North Vietnamese and Pathet Lao forces probed Royal Laos Army positions in the area by launching several artillery attacks. On 10 January, a Pathet Lao patrol was driven from the area by the Hmong soldiers, fearing the explosives attached to their equipment could be detonated by incoming artillery rounds. U.S. technicians dismantled the charges and threw them over the cliff. On 12 January, CIA spotters reported a 4-aircraft formation flying in the direction of Lima Site 85. They were Soviet-made Antonov and 2 biplanes. 2 aircraft continued towards Lima Site 85, while the others turned away. The Vietnam People's Air Force, in one of its few air attacks during the conflict, tried to destroy the radar at Lima Site 85. The N-2S flew over Phou Pathet, and the crewmen dropped 120mm mortar shells through the aircraft's floor and then strafed their targets with 57mm rockets mounted on the wing pods. As they repeatedly attacked the facility, ground fire heavily damaged 1 and 2, and it crashed into a mountainside. By now, CIA officers and U.S. controllers at Lima Site 85 had managed to contact an Air America helicopter, which was faster than the Soviet-made biplanes. The Hui pilot of the sighted the remaining N-2, and promptly gave chase. As he pulled alongside, a crew member armed with an assault rifle opened fire and caused the biplane to crash into a ridge. The remaining N-2s had observed the attack from a distance and managed to escape without damage. 4 Hmongs, 2 men and 2 women, had been killed by the communist attack. Nevertheless, the TSQ-81 radar and its associated equipment was undamaged. Shortly afterwards, what remained of one of the N-2 biplanes was put on display in front of the That Luang Monument, Vientiane's most important Buddhist shrine, as proof of North Vietnamese military activities in the kingdom. Despite the attack, the U.S. Embassy in Vientiane and the USAF refused to alter their strategy for defending Lima Site 85. Lieutenant Colonel Clarence F. Blanton, commander of USAF personnel at the facility, was given no authority to supervise his own perimeter or to order a retreat if they again came under attack. Throughout January and February, intelligence collected by the Hmongs confirmed that a major assault on Lima Site 85 was being prepared, but Sullivan and the U.S. military took no steps to strengthen the defenses. In late February, a combat controller, Technical Sergeant James Gary, arrived to augment the defenses by directing airstrikes. He was replaced in this duty by Sergeant Roger D. Huffman on about the 4th of March.